Hi everybody, it's Mike with Inflatable Boarder, and today I'm reviewing the iRocker All-Around Ultra 2.0 Compact iSUPs. iRocker's Ultra series of iSUPs have taken over the compact paddleboard market, and for good reason. They're built well, and they're ultra portable, fitting into a bag that's roughly half the size of a standard inflatable paddleboard bag, and they do all of this without sacrificing performance or versatility. The Ultra Series iSUPs use a brand new construction for iRocker. Inside the board, we have a new woven drop stitch core that uses a lower density but high strength space yarn between the top and bottom layers to give the board its 6-inch thickness and provide excellent rigidity. On top of the new drop stitch core, we now have a new dual layer fusion laminate PVC shell. This new material is lighter than the traditional PVC shell that iRocker uses in their original all-around paddleboards, and it's designed to allow the board to fold in half for more compact storage. The top and bottom of the board are joined together by gluing on a PVC rail band, and then another outer layer is applied over top of that. Lastly, iRocker adds 2 rail reinforcement bands on the top and bottom edge of that outer rail band to provide even more durability. Altogether, this construction takes about 6 pounds off the weight of the original iRocker all-around iSUPs. The new Ultra Series boards are rated for a maximum internal pressure of 16 psi, and with the lighter construction that's designed to be folded, I was really curious to see how well these would do in our bend test. With 170 pounds of weight in the standing area of the board, we measured 1.34 inches of deflection in the 11-foot all-around Ultra and 1.46 inches of deflection in the 10-foot all-around Ultra. Essentially, this is the same score as the original iRockers, but with significantly lower weight. On the water, there was essentially no flex in these boards while you're standing on them and paddling normally. I did feel a small amount of flex during the speed testing while I was sprinting, and I could generate a moderate to high amount of flex while bouncing on these boards. Now, these boards do have a little bit of a tighter rebound and recovery feel when you are bouncing on them, and that is fairly common with lighter, stiffer paddleboards. Overall, I didn't notice any flex in the board affecting the paddling performance during normal use. The all-around Ultra paddleboards share the same size and shape as the original all-around paddleboards from iRocker. The 11-foot is 11 feet long, 32 inches wide, and 6 inches thick. It has a weight capacity of 290 pounds and weighs just 19.8 pounds for the board. The 10-foot all-around Ultra is 10 feet long, 32 inches wide, 6 inches thick, has a weight capacity of 260 pounds, and is 18.2 pounds for the board only. These are the Ultra 2.0 paddleboards. iRocker came out with their original Ultra series in 2022, and those boards were about 1 inch to 1.5 inches narrower than their specified width. And that is one of the things that iRocker has changed with the 2.0, is making sure that all of these boards are hitting their specified 32-inch widths. iRocker's all-around paddleboards are known for being very stable for their size, and a big part of that is due to their shape. These boards have a very broad nose that does taper to a point, but not until the very front of the board. They also have a medium-wide square-shaped tail and very parallel midsections. All 3 of these components together add up to a very stable shape on the water that resists tipping side to side. On the water, I didn't feel that either of these boards had any rolling or twitching. I felt very stable on both of them, although the 11-foot is a little bit more stable due to its extra length. The deck pad on the all-around Ultra is a little bit shorter than on the original all-around. It also has a split running down the middle, and that's to allow it to easily fold in half to be put into a smaller bag. The pad still has grooved sections as well as a logo embossed texture for great traction. Because it is shorter, you don't have as much room to step to the back of the board, and when you do, you have to be more careful because now you're going to be standing on the PVC surface as opposed to the high traction deck pad. While the shorter pad does make it harder to use the tail of the board, there is still plenty of room at the front of the board to bring along a passenger or pet. With the lower weight capacities though, it's not recommended to use these boards with 2 adults, otherwise you may run into some stability issues. Both of these boards are actually pretty dang quick on the water. Their lightweight and stiff construction makes them very easy to accelerate, and they also glide very well. In our sprinting speed test, The 11-foot all-around Ultra had an average sprinting speed of about 5.3 miles per hour and a top speed of 5.8 miles per hour. The 10-foot all-around was a little bit slower, with an average speed of 5.0 miles per hour and a top speed of 5.4 miles per hour. Now the 10-foot is just on the quick side of average for the sprinting test for an all-around paddleboard, but the 11-foot is noticeably fast. While sprint testing both of these boards, I did notice a fair amount of flex both in the board and in the paddle while I was paddling hard. That does prevent these boards from paddling as fast as their shape and size would allow them to, but even with that, they're still very quick for an all-around board. And when you're not wanting to put in a ton of effort to make these boards go as fast as possible, both of them also have very good cruising speeds at slower cadences. At a casual cruising pace of about 25 strokes per minute, I was able to paddle the 11-foot Ultra at around 3.5 miles per hour and the 10-foot Ultra at about 3.4 miles per hour. Both of those are good results for an all-around paddleboard, especially for the 10-foot being so short. Both of them also have excellent gliding efficiency. The 11-foot Ultra moved an average of about 21 feet per stroke, and the 10-foot Ultra moved an average of 19 feet per stroke, giving both of these boards a gliding ratio of 1.9 board lengths per stroke. Now this 1.9 board length per stroke number is huge for an all-around paddleboard. That's a result we typically see with a touring board that's around 2 feet longer and 2 inches narrower. And that means that these boards are giving you excellent efficiency while you're paddling, making it very easy to cover those longer distances, even if you're not moving quite as fast as a longer, skinnier board. Most all-around paddleboards try to balance your tracking and maneuverability performance to make it very easy to turn and still allow you to relatively easily travel in a straight line. Both the 10 and 11-foot all-around Ultra paddleboards err towards the side of tracking straight versus easy maneuverability. In our maneuverability test, we do a standing 360-degree turn using forward sweep strokes, and we count the number of strokes it takes to complete that turn. The 11-foot all-around Ultra needed 13 paddle strokes on average to make that full 360, and the 10-foot all-around Ultra needed 9 paddle strokes on average to make the same turn. For an all-around paddleboard, our average is much closer to 6.5 strokes, so you can see that both of these boards struggled a little bit here, or in the case of the 11-foot, struggled quite a bit. Now this is designed as a stress test. They both do steer well, and they make smaller turns fairly efficiently. If you're using reverse sweep strokes, you can get both of these boards to make a full 360-degree turn in just 4 paddle strokes. It is more difficult to step back to the tail for a pivot turn because that deck pad is shorter. As a larger paddler, I was able to perform this by keeping my back foot just barely touching the deck pad. However, lighter paddlers may struggle to get far enough back to lift the nose. Now on the flip side of things, both of these boards did very well in our tracking test. The 10-foot all-around Ultra had an average course deviation after 10 paddle strokes on a single side of just 15 degrees. That is better than the average for all-around paddleboards. The 11-foot all-around Ultra did very well, deviating just 9 degrees in the same test. That is top-level tracking performance for an all-around paddleboard, not quite to the level of performance that we'd see in a dedicated touring board. Now the big reason we're seeing such a skew towards tracking performance rather than maneuverability is because of the fin setup. These boards have a twin fin setup, meaning they have 2 fins that are in parallel at the back of the board rather than a single fin or a tri-fin setup. iRocker includes 2 9-inch fins to use in these boards, and you do have to use 2 of the same fin, otherwise you will be paddling in circles the whole time. iRocker does not officially have any other fins for the Ultra iSUPs. However, we found that the side fins from the original iRocker boards do fit the Ultra fin boxes, just without the support for the fin tether. I would love to see iRocker come out with a 6-inch fin option for these boards. I think that would be the best happy medium between the excellent tracking performance we get right now and the higher maneuverability you'd get with the shorter 4.5-inch fins. So hopefully we can see that in the future. The 10 and 11-foot all-around Ultra paddleboards are a fully fledged all-around paddleboard. They have the same feature set that the original iRocker boards have, except they do it in a way that allows them to fold in half for smaller storage. There are two cargo storage areas on the Ultra iSUPs. There's a large storage area on the front of the board and a medium area on the back of the board. You can easily fit up to a large size dry bag. You can actually take the bungee cords off with their removable clasps, and you can tie down anything you'd like to the D-rings. Each cargo area does have a set of removable passenger handles. However, because the deck pad does end well before the rear cargo area, those passenger handles may not be as useful or as comfortable to use for passengers in the back of the board. There are 3 threaded accessory mount holders on the board, 2 at the front cargo area and 1 at the very tail of the board, and you can use those with things like fishing rod holders and any number of other accessories that use a standard M6 bolt. There are 4 D-rings around the middle of the board that can be used with the iRocker kayak seat, and there are 3 carrying handles on both the 10-foot and 11-foot Ultra board. The center carrying handle is offset from the middle of the board, which makes it easy to use on one side and a little bit more of a stretch if you're carrying it from the other. And the 2 handles on the tail and the nose are on the very center of the board, so they do make it easy to carry with a partner. If you are a little bit shorter or have narrower hips, you might find that the offset position of the handle falls right underneath your feet. At 5'9", I found that the handle actually fell just inside of where I normally stand, and so it didn't change anything for me. The 10 and 11 foot all-around Ultra paddleboards come as a complete kit. With the board, you get a maintenance and repair kit, a coiled leash, 2 9-inch fins, and you get iRocker's electric pump. Now, the electric pump is a huge upgrade and something that we highly recommend anyone with an inflatable paddleboard get. The iRocker electric pump is one of the workhorse pumps that I use all the time. It's fairly quick, taking about 9 minutes to inflate the 10 and 11 foot all-around iSUP, and I haven't run into any longevity issues. I've been using the same electric pumps for over 2 years now with hundreds of duty cycles and had no issues with them. The board, the accessory bag, and the paddle that comes with it all fit into a very compact bag that's roughly 60% the size of a standard iSUP bag. With its lower weight and smaller size, these boards are super compact and easy to travel with you just about anywhere you go. They're not quite small enough to fit onto a regular passenger plane, and overhead storage is a carry-on, but the bag is very durable, and overall the package would have no issue going through as checked luggage. The bag itself is made with a heavy-duty nylon material. It has a roll-top closure, and the front panel zips completely open with a zipper on either side, allowing you to easily pack the board and all the accessories inside. There's even a paddle organizer on the inside of the bag, specifically made to fit the iRocker 5-piece paddle that comes with the all-around Ultra. The 5-piece compact travel paddle that comes with the all-around Ultra has a carbon fiber shaft, a nylon paddle blade, and a carbon fiber handle section with a plastic grip. The blade is the same shape and size as the regular iRocker paddle, roughly 85 square inches. It has a rectangular shape and a slight scoop to it. It does have a medium amount of flex in the blade. Because the paddle shaft has more sections to it, it does have significantly more flex than the 3-piece carbon fiber nylon paddle from iRocker. There is a small amount of play between the individual sections of the paddle shaft, and you can feel that when it's in your hand, but once I was on the water, I didn't notice it at all. The handle section uses iRocker's standard pin and clip system to adjust the length. It also helps index the paddle handle to the paddle blade, so you always got it pointed in the right direction. The grip itself is made of plastic, and it's probably my least favorite part of this paddle. It has a texture on the back of it that I don't find necessary and can sometimes be a little irritating to my skin, but the biggest part of it is it just feels lightweight. I'd rather see them use a molded composite grip as opposed to this plastic one that is bolted into the handle. While paddling at casual pace with the 5-piece paddle, it does feel comfortable and has a good amount of flex, so you're not straining yourself at all. However, if you do want to pick up the speed, it does become a little bit of an issue as the paddle flexes fairly significantly. Overall, I'd say the 5-piece paddle is a good match for the all-around Ultra compact boards. It's very difficult to design a paddle that can both be broken down into such a small package and perform at a high level. And I think iRocker has done a good job here for those paddlers looking for a versatile all-around board and paddle that's easy to transport. Both of these boards perform very well as all-around paddle boards. They are compact iSUPs, but they aren't limited to just that category. They're built well, they're full size when they're inflated, they're very stable and easy to use, and they have a full set of features. They do have excellent tracking performance and speed, but they aren't the most agile paddleboards right out of the box. You can swap the fins out, but you will be losing a little bit of that tracking performance. Both the 10-foot and 11-foot boards have enough stability to be very beginner friendly. You could do a little bit of SUP fishing with them or maybe a little bit of SUP yoga. However, the smaller deck pad does limit you a little bit there as well. The 11-foot board performs almost like a touring board. In fact, I would even put it into the category of hybrid touring and all-around paddleboards because of its performance. The 10-foot board is a little bit more agile, a little bit closer to that maneuverability we would expect in an all-around board, but it does lose some of that total weight capacity and a little bit of that tracking performance as well. The price of these boards has been fluctuating over the last year, but even at their full MSRP of $800, the 11-foot and 10-foot all-around ultra paddleboards are a great value. They come with a complete feature set, they perform well on the water, they're very stable and user-friendly, and they fit into a super small package, so they're easy to store and transport. Hopefully I've answered all of your questions about the iRocker 10-foot and 11-foot all-around Ultra 2.0 paddleboards. If I've missed something or you still have more questions, please feel free to leave a comment below. While you're down there, you'll find links to our full written reviews at InflatableBoarder.com, as well as reviews for dozens of other paddleboards, including all of iRocker's paddleboards. If you've liked this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our future video content. If you are considering the iRocker 10-foot or 11-foot all-around ultra paddleboard, we'd appreciate it if you'd use the link in the video description below to purchase that. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does help support our channel and bring you more content and more reviews. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to wear your PFD, and happy paddling.